Yo, what's good? It's Finn's Take with CB83A coming to you for another banger. What's poppin' with everybody? Hey, shout out to the homies in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the building. Hey, we gonna get it cracking. Not in my regular studio, but you know what it is. We going up, we turning up, we get it cracking. Shout out to everybody in the building. Man, what an experience being down there in Miami the past few days. Going to couple practices, going to the scrimmage. Just a fantastic experience being around Dolphin fans, being around Dolphins, being around some of the homies. Man, I got to kick it with some of the homies. We went to Twin Peaks and hung out. Man, shout out to the homies, man. The homie Batman, MCJB, the homie Rudy, and the homie Cap for Life too. Shout out to y'all boys, man. So we definitely went down there to Miami, stream practices, got it in, had a good time, man. And we're gonna talk about some of what we saw, just some evaluate where players are, what we need help with, and just kind of what the Miami Dolphins can kind of put themselves. What they can do to kind of put themselves in a position to be successful this season. So we'll get into it, man. Just a lot to cover. Twitter went wild today. Shout out to everybody kind of involved. It's just a lot of back and forth, and I'll address it a little bit. I'll talk about it. Um, but it's goofy. We gotta be better as fans. We gotta be better. So shout out to everybody in the chat. The homie Raul P was in here first. What's good with you, Raul P? You know we gotta go up. It's another banger. Hit the like button. Hey, we are waiting for lucky number 13 to join the members gang. Let's get it. Let's get up. Let's go. Hey, yes, sir. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the members gang. The homie Raul P is in the building. The homie S. Harris is in the building too. He's in the members gang. He says, home of the real Miami Dolphins fans. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Let's get it. Hey, home of the Miami Dolphin fans. That's how we get down over here, man. My man Sean says Tyreek is ranked 7th on the top 100 list. Hey, dope to see guys in the top 10. We got 7 guys on the list this year. Wow, that's impressive. Miami usually has like one guy on there. Xavier Howard's typically been the only guy in the past. Having 7 guys on the top 100 means your front office, your organization, your coaches, your staff is doing something right and putting the team together. So that's impressive. I'm proud to be a Miami Dolphins fan. I'm proud to see what this team is going to do this year. Put nothing but good juju out there. That's all I do. Put good juju out there. Hey, hopefully we get it back, and that's what I'm hoping as Miami Dolphin fans. Now, it's cool for us to be critical, right? Right. So as long as we're evaluating and we see something we can be critical about, then we could be critical, right? But I also trust the coaching staff, and I understand that Mike McDaniel's is working really hard. And I've heard Tua talk about him being in there till 2 o'clock in the morning watching film and breaking it down and analyzing. I trust those guys in the building. I understand he's a smart guy. He's gonna put our guys in position to be successful, right? He wants to have a winning team on the football field. And I don't think it's about politics. I heard a lot of politics talk today. Guys getting positions just based off politics, right? I think in any position you got to give guys an opportunity to develop, right? And until they show you they can't, until you find able bodies who are better, then they got to run. They got to roll with it. But I see a lot of camp battles going on right now that are really pushing guys at certain positions, and we'll get into it, especially the cornerback position, some of the offensive line positions. It's competition. It's a lot of guys getting reps, and just seeing who can fit best. Right now, me being a fan and looking at it, from the outside perspective and being at practice, I could see certain things, right? But you can't see everything. And that's what I want you guys to understand. I coached for years. So in coaching, you got to understand that, hey, even after the game, I don't really know who played well and who played great. I either know if we ran the ball well or if we didn't run the ball well. I know if we pass protected well and if we didn't pass protect well. Now, there's certain guys I can point out maybe who didn't pass protect well. But when it comes to run blocking, it's just kind of hard to determine who was making the mistakes because there's so much mess in there. Um, you don't use a lot of technology during the game typically. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But it's just hard to evaluate. And me being a fan, looking from the outside in, a former coach, former player, um, I can't evaluate those guys and say, "Hey, you played bad or you played good." I mean, I can say, "Hey, you did your job," right? But I'm sure there's plays within doing their job that were bad plays, right? Because defenses, they get paid to play too. So I want you guys to understand that, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We're going up today. Man, we still on Dalvin watch, right? And we'll talk about the running back position. I see at the running back position, I just don't see anybody standing out, right? Um, in an ideal world, right? There would be a running back who we saw in that room who was just superior to the rest and who just stood out, who could do everything. Now I understand too, like a lot of our playbook probably isn't in yet, or they're not running it yet. I didn't see a lot of screens. I saw a lot of, passes in the flats, drawn up passes in the flats and stuff like that. Like flare routes and out routes and swing routes and stuff like that. I saw a lot of that from the running backs. I saw a lot of them lining up wide outside and running routes. I saw a lot of that too. But nobody in that room is really standing out as being head and shoulders above the others in the group. I just got to be completely honest with you. A-Chain's a good player. Ahmed's a good player. They look very similar in running the football. Jeff Wilson looks like he did last year. Mostert looks like he did last year, right? Mostert's kind of similar to what A-Chain and Ahmed look like for the most part. Jeff Wilson's a little bit sturdier. He can run up inside a little bit more. But nobody really stands out, right? And then watching practice the 3 days, nobody stood out. And that's kind of my thing. And that's why I would like a guy like Dalvin Cook just because he brings you more versatility for your offense. And honestly, too, as a young quarterback, he's, third, fourth year in, right? I'd like a guy like Dalvin to be standing next to him, especially when it comes to pass protecting, right? People don't talk about the nuance of the game a lot, but pass protection is really important, especially in times where you need a running back to step up in the hole and really punch a linebacker in the mouth. That's going to be important. So, got to keep that in mind too. Got to keep that in mind. I see you, man. Neymar to Inter Miami, bro. Inter Miami's going crazy down there. The city of Miami is just crazy right now. The whole vibe, soccer, football, basketball, everything, baseball. Miami's off the chain right now. And the energy down there is great. So shout out to Inter Miami, Messi and the boys, rocking out. The man Cat for Life is in the building. I'm gonna catch up on these comments. Cat for Life, what's good with you, my man? Man said chill. Cat, hey, Cap for Life is the homie, bro. Y'all go to my Twitter. I got a picture with Cap on there. Cap, Batman, MCJB, and the homie Rudy, man. We had a good time at Twin Peaks, man. Man said chill in the building. Man said chill in the building. Raul Colon says, where you at? Hey, I'm tucked away, man. I'm tucked away. Don't worry about where I'm at, bro. I'm not in the typical studio. If y'all go look at my previous shows, y'all know my studio looks a lot different. Florida born, Kentucky grown in the building. What's good? I'll be in Kentucky October 9th through the 13th, bro. We got to kick it. I'm doing the Black Bourbon Run, the tour. We're hitting the distilleries. We got a couple barrel picks coming up, so that's gonna be fun. I'm a big bourbon junkie. That's what we do, man. Shout out to Cat for Life. He's my man Raul said y'all need a whole new team. Shut up. Adam Sadowski, what's good? Adam Sadowski's in the member gang. Yeah, what's popping? Let's get it. Yes, sir. Shout out to the homie Adam Sadowski, man. We run it up for the members game. We do run it up for them boys. Shout out to y'all. DG Live, what's good? DG Live, man. We got to get some going this week, man. We got to get together for a show. kind of evaluate some of these joint practices, bro. So we got to talk about it. The boys are back to work tomorrow for the joint practices. So it's going to be exciting to hear some of the reports coming out of joint practices. And this is where the monotony of camp starts to kick in, right? You're 10 days in, right? 10 days in, you've been banging on each other. You're tired of seeing the man across from you. You want to punch him in the face at this point because you're just tired of lining up against him and blocking him, right? So now, you know, Mike McDaniel throws a little wrench in the game, has joint practices. It gets to mix it up, which is cool. This is the perfect time, too. You have the scrimmage, which was fun with the fans. Now you get to go straight into joint practice. And I think Mike McDaniel has done a fantastic job with the schedule this year. As far as the practice schedule goes, I mean, you're looking at right now, you're probably about midway through camp, right? So 9 practices in, you probably have about 9 to 10 practices left. Right. So that's why I say this is midpoint, because honestly, it is, right? You got 9 practices in, you got about 9 left. And, you play 3 games within that time period, right? You got 3 days of practice and you're going to do some walkthroughs and then you're going to play. So, really like the midway point. And this is where you start to lock in as a staff, as units, right? So you can expect to see a lot more of the ones running together. And I think this first 9 days of camp, you had a lot of people panicking, right? Like, what are we doing? We look off. I think it's a lot of mixing guys in order to get them reps and, evaluate where they are. So a lot of Tua running with different receivers, right? It's not always Jalen Waddle and Tyreek in the game. It's Chosen, it's Berrios, it's Saubert. I saw a lot of tight ends at the scrimmage, a lot of Eric Saubert, a lot of Durham Smythe, Tanner Connor getting reps, Elijah Higgins getting reps. So a lot of that. So you got to keep that in mind. You can't be pressed to judge off the 9 days of practice. I think as we start getting into joint practices and as we start getting into games, you'll start to see who the ones are and how the units kind of shape out. So, just chill, just relax, shout out to the homie. Yeah, Florida born Kentucky grown in the building. DG says, all right, this is Florida born Kentucky grown. He says, DG, I've been checking out your content. Good shit, bro. Good shit. And honestly, if y'all not checking out DG, be sure to do that. He comes on my channel. I go over there sometimes. We just been running it up, trying to get to where we are, man. We the little guys building in the community brick by brick, just trying to do it. I appreciate everybody. If you can like, share, and subscribe, donate, become a member, it helps the channel. It really does help the channel. Really does. So DG Live says Jeff Wilson looked faster to me. Okay. And honestly, I think Jeff Wilson looked a little bit smaller to me too. Like he looked like he had lost some weight and got more lean. So honestly, I could see him being a little bit quicker, from what you saw. I could see that. I could definitely see that. The homie Adam Sadowski dropping the emojis. If you want to get the emojis, you got to get in the gang. You got to get in the members gang, yo. So shout out to everybody in the members gang. We got 12 members. We're looking for our lucky number 13. Some of the members consist of Shake Money is the captain. The squad consists of William Perry, Chef Jew, Raul Parada, Cruz Ruiz, Shake Money, and Andravia Shaw, Click Clack. Irv Figueroa, G, Big Slick, Adam Sadowski, the Wayne D Experience, and S Harris are in the members game. We are looking for lucky number 13. If you become lucky number 13, and dang, you the man, you Dan the man, you Dan the man of the crew. That's what we got to call you. So yeah, man, we'll get it going. But let's get into talking about practice a little bit. And I'm gonna go kind of unit by unit and just kind of touch base in regards to each unit and talk about kind of what I saw from practice, right? And I'm gonna start with I see everybody. The homie Cruz Ruiz is in the building. What's good? What's good? Another member, another part of the gang. Let's go, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The members get special shout outs on my channel, bro, because they're superb supporting. So appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Um, Adam Sadowski says, just subscribe to your channel, DG. Hell yeah. Subscribe, man. Support the homie. Support everybody, man. That's what it's about. It's about the love. It's about the atmosphere, the good times, right? Um, so appreciate y'all. Mr. Fanatic, I see you. Fins up, fins up, fins up. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. So the first thing I want to talk about, let's go ahead and get off to it, right? Let's talk about these quarterbacks, right? So from what I saw from camp, you know, Tua's playing really good football, right? Now, there are times, and I want you to understand this. There are times where the offense doesn't look sharp, right? Um, and that could be a number of things. It could be the weather, the turf, the rain, stuff like that, right? There's a lot of things that could be going on. It could be the unit, who's in there, who's running the routes, whether there's chemistry or not. But for the most part, from what I see, the offense will be fine, right? Um, and I know people, from the scrimmage yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, but Saturday, the scrimmage was they were off. Like the offense really couldn't get into a rhythm. There were some miscommunications. Even at practice, there were some false starts by the receivers, little things like that of not playing smart, right? And Mike McDaniels talks about this a lot. And I think Teron Armstead kind of said this in the interview. He said, hey, down the stretch, we got to find a way to play smarter, right? And playing smarter consists of, hey, not beating yourself with penalties, understanding, being on the same page, the attention to detail, right? So I think the focus has got to turn up a little bit in regards to um, the offense and the quarterbacks are really important to that because they kind of implement that. They're kind of like the conductor of the train, so they kind of make it go. So when I saw Tua kind of having the conversation with the offense afterwards, after the scrimmage, and just he was pretty animated, right? I got it on the live stream. He was animated, not really in their face, but just, yo, pick it up. We got to be better. There's got to be more of a sense of urgency. Like we got to do better as a unit. We got to focus more, right? We got to be more prepared. Even if there's a lightning delay, we need to come out and be ready to go, right? And I don't think they owe it to us as fans to look great, in a scrimmage, but I think, they should want to look good, for us, because they should want to be able to execute on offense and do things well. Now, I know the weather had a lot to do with that. That field was very slick. Receivers were falling down, and that's why, I really can't like dog them like that because this was an environment they haven't really been in yet, right? Haven't practiced there, new grass on the field. So it was just a lot going on. So I like the thought that, I like the fact that Tua kind of had that conversation with the offense and just tried to get them in the right mindset of, hey, this isn't good enough, right? It's not good enough. We got to be more focused. We got to do the little things, the attention to detail. Guys got to get out earlier at practice, do some stuff before practice, do some stuff after practice, right? And that's what I want to see more of. Like when I was there at practice Thursday and Friday, I didn't see a lot of guys after practice working. Um, and guys may be getting lax, right? And it's up to the leaders on the team to be like, yo, let's stay after and make sure we're working and getting some stuff in. Now they may go inside and do some stuff in the bubble, right? But I want to see guys be you got to be locked in. You got to be focused. And it's not my job to call them out or tell them they need to be doing something, but I think they understand that they want to be good. And if you want to be good, you got to put the work in. Hard work, dedication, right? Um, and that's everybody. That's from top to bottom, from coaches all the way to the 90th man on the roster. You just got to do a little bit more. So that's what I like to see. And I think the quarterbacks will be fine. I think right now the battle between Mike White and Skylar Thompson is very close. Right, I seen Mike White throw some really good balls. I saw Skylar Thompson throw some really good balls. I would lean towards Mike White being the second string quarterback and Skylar Thompson being the third string quarterback. And two is clearly number one. Those none of those guys are on his level. Um, so I'm not even going to act like that's the case. Right now, you got to keep in mind there may be a practice where Mike White has some better plays, right? Where Skylar Thompson has better plays than Tua, but it's about the consistency and being able to do it regularly, right? They can't stack those days up against Tua and say, "Oh, I'm better than Tua," right? It just can't happen just because they're not on that level. And Tua can stack some really good days and say, and execute and do things well. But he might have a day where he's off. I think we saw that last year in games, right? Where hey, Tua was off this game, right? I think quarterbacks are allowed to be off some games, right? But it's up to the coaching, right? And the people around him, right? The offense, the other offensive players, right? The running backs, the offensive line, the defense, the special teams to kind of compensate for him maybe being off. There's going to be games where the defense secondary may be off, right? And they're getting attacked and they're getting ate up. That means Tua's got to be better in certain areas. And I think that's what's realistic, right? And I think as fans, it's some of us are just too cynical in regards to being fans, right? You can be passionate, you can love your team, right? But you also got to understand that hey, these guys are human beings. They're gonna have down games. Coaches are gonna have bad moments. Players are gonna have bad moments. But it's about working through the adversity and carrying each other. And that's why it's a team. That's why it's 11 guys on the field at one time. That's why it's these guys winning their individual battles in order to win the war. So that's what you guys got to understand. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Do me a favor. We got 40 in the room. Hit the like for your boy. I appreciate you guys coming through. See my homie Dre is in the building. Dre, what's good with you, bro? We going up. Another banger. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Raul P says, shout out to the legend, OJ McDuffie. Hey, OJ McDuffie came in hot today. Came in hot with the TD situation. My take on the situation, let's address it. That's the elephant in the room, right? When it comes to when it comes to TD and how he fans, right? You can fan however you want to, right? But you also gotta take people being critical when they want to be critical, and that's just fair. I think, especially with us having platforms, right? TD's platform is way larger than mine. 25,000 subscribers, huge channel, right? So if you garner that type of attention, right? You still the way you dish it out, you got to be able to take it the same way, and that's just my thing. Like if you're gonna be critical and attack, then you got to be able to take the criticism and attack back, and that's just really what it is, right? And I don't think it's fair for anybody to play the victim in the situation and be like, "Oh, you're a big guy. Like, why are you coming at me?" Nah, bro. Like, if people have a lot to say, right, until people clap back, and when people clap back, right, you either gotta take it on the chin or be like, "Hey, this is how I fan. Is what I do." Like, I'm not. If OJ McDuffie come at me for something I said, hey, bro, this is what I said. It's my opinion, right? It is what it is. I ain't gonna say, "Oh, you too big for this." Nah, that's not how I'm gonna do it. That's just how I would approach it. I'm just saying, like, and I think TD did the right thing by saying, "Hey, if you want to have a conversation about it, we can have a conversation about it." Now, I don't think OJ McDuffie will ever, get on TD's platform and have that conversation with him about it. But I think it's fair for both guys to fan how they want to fan, right? But you also got to take it when guys come at you for your takes, especially if they feel like you're saying something that's not right, right? I do it all the time. There's a lot of guys I heard in the community for years who just said some off the wall dumb stuff, right? But and I would clap back at him, bro. That's a terrible take. Like trash take, trash emoji, trash takes, you're a clown, you're goofy, right? I would do that. But in the same way I would do that, they would do it back. Like I ain't mad at them, no. It is what it is, right? Um, but the one thing we all have in common is that we want the Miami Dolphins to be successful, right? Um, as fans, right? We don't have control over anything, right? The only thing we control is where we spend our money, right? Where we spend our funds and stuff like that. If you choose not to spend your money with the Dolphins and you choose not to buy merch and not to go to games, cool. That's you how you control your money, right? Um, but if you do, if you're spending money and stuff like, I mean, they got you, bro. I mean, you're a fan. That's your team. That's your logo. You rocking with them. Like you just gotta take what you got to kind of take what they give you. Not cool. It's cool to be critical and say, oh, yeah, we should be doing this, we should be doing that, but we don't make those choices, right? Like I wish we had control over the lineup and stuff like that, but that's not the case. That's not how the game is ran, right? The coaches control that, right? You wish you could play Madden with the real life Miami Dolphins, but it's not the case. So I think as fans, we gotta be a little less cynical and we got to be more. I mean, we're passionate, right? But we got to be more fans, right? Fans are going to root for their team. They're going to wish positive on their team. um the negative, the criticism, the like I really do question some of these guys and if they're fans of the Miami Dolphins, the way they come at the team, right? I really do question it sometimes. um but I can have conversations with those people, um, and just have the dialogue with them. Hey, is your criticism film based? Like, what are you watching? Like, what's determining how you feel about this, right? And everybody will get on here and say, "Hey, Liam Eichenberger's trash, and he's doing this," but you haven't even seen the film, bro. Like, you don't even watch the film. You don't have practice film. You don't see how he's practicing. You don't see how his reps are going. So I understand reporters can report one thing, right? They can report a lot of stuff, but they can't see the shit either, to be completely honest with you, right? I'm out there, I got a better view than they got, right? As a fan at practice, I got a better view than they got. They way up on the left side, away from everything. They can't see it. They don't get film to watch practice. So you got to take everything you hear from beat writers, from reporters, from fans, from everybody with a grain of salt, right? Listen to what the coaches are telling you. When they have these press conferences, listen to what they say because they're the ones who are watching the film. They're the ones in the facility till 2 a.m. breaking it down. Hey, this guy's steps are bad, right? This guy's technique is bad on this play. He's struggling to get around on the pull. He's struggling on his bucket steps. Like those are things you have to key in on, and you can't do it being a fan from the outside. Is just hard to do. Now, during the season, you get the all 22, different story, right? Different story, right? You could do a little bit more. You can evaluate a little bit more. So keeping it moving. Um, I just wanted to touch on that and appreciate you, Raul P, for bringing that up. Um, my man says it's two a time Super Bowl. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. DG Live says to me, I think our defense just likes that stop of offense like ours. Iron sharpens iron. Both our irons are sharp as hell. So it's gonna be tough in practice. Yeah, I agree with you. It's gonna be tough out there. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Cap is saying, I'm just saying, where was OJ when Stephen A. Smith was destroying our coach last week? Just saying, keep the same energy with ESPN. And I and that's it. I mean, that's fair, right? But I don't think OJ is to the point where he wants to clap back at ESPN. Stephen A. Smith is a clown for that take, talking about he's not taking McDaniel serious because of the Tua situation. Some of these dudes are just in it for clicks, and that's clearly a video to like get some clicks, right? Don't even make sense, bro. Like, you think McDaniel would put Tua out there if he thought he was in a bad situation or if he thought he couldn't play? Like, come on, y'all are so goofy. Stephen A. Smith is a clown for that. Q in the building. What's good? Shake Money's in the building. Shake Money says, throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Shake, yes, sir. The homie Shake Money in the building. Guys, I can talk about this football stuff all night. I really love the game of football. I love the nuance. It's a beautiful thing. Q's in the building. Marino's Goats in the building says fins up. Guys, we got 50 in the room. Do me a favor, hit the like. We're going to continue talking about the evaluation. My man said TD got cooked on Twitter to the point where he just deleted his tweets. Damn, it's all good, man. It happens. It happens. Sometimes you catch them bullets, you catch them strays, bro. But that TD's the homie. So yeah, man, I need some water. All right. So my man DG said Noah thought he was the ish at the State of Pride. Yo, Noah had a really good 3 days while I was there. Noah got some reps with the ones. And we'll talk about the DBs. Let's continue talking about the offense. So running back, you know how I feel about running back. You know how I feel about quarterback. Running back, I just don't feel like anybody's standing out. Jeff Wilson Jr. was nicked up at one point. I think A-Chain was nicked up at one point. You had Mostert getting runs. You had Ahmed getting runs. You had Gaskin getting runs, right? A-Chain looks explosive. Ahmed looks, good. Like, I mean, he looks okay. These guys look good, right? Mostert looks fast at times, right? Getting around the corner, hitting that edge. The durability of this room will be a concern for me. It just will. I think if we get into the season and one or two guys go down and get nicked up like we've seen already in training camp, these guys honestly really aren't even hitting like that yet. Let's be completely honest with ourselves, right? So for you to be getting nicked up already, right? These guys are not hitting, taking guys to the ground. So if guys are getting nicked up already, right? Ankles, lower extremity injuries, soft tissue stuff, bro, we're gonna struggle. To be completely honest with you, we're gonna struggle because once they start hitting and they start taking guys to the ground, grappling them, barrel rolling them, it's just we're gonna deal with injuries in the running back position. So I want a guy like Dalvin, right? Upgrades the room, it pushes one of those guys down. Hey, Gaskins, you might have to go. Ahmed, you might have to go. We don't know, right? But it does upgrade the room. It makes the room better, right? Every percentage point we can get towards being a better offense, right? If we're at an 80% right now and Dalvin gives us 85% chance, bro, I want the 5%. Go get it, right? Especially if you can get it for a discount, right? Dalvin is going to cost you a lot of money right now. 2 or 3 years ago, he would have cost you $14-15 million. Now he might cost you 7, 6, right? Maybe 7.5. So of course I'm doing it, right? It's a no-brainer to me, right? My screen game is going to be on point. He's going to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's going to be able to line up outside. He's going to be able to run inside, run outside. The dude can do everything. Like, why am I even questioning that? And people will say, oh, the running back room is good. Yeah, it's good. It's okay. It ain't great, though, by any means. It's not great, right? And if you're saying, hey, it's good, we don't need another guy, and you have an opportunity to get Dalvin, you're just fooling yourself, right? I watch a lot of football. I know what a good running back is. Our guys just aren't there yet. They aren't there yet. Some of those guys won't be there. A-Chain may get there, but he's not there yet, right? There's a lot that comes in to being that, right? A fullback could do everything. Screens, catch the ball out of the backfield, check downs, screen plays, pass protect, run inside, run outside, block, in run plays. Like there's a lot to do. Like, I mean, and the more versatile you are, the more we could use the entire field. The more we could use the entire field, the better our offense is. So keep that in mind, man. Keep it in mind. 60 in a room. Hit the like for your boy. So that's running backs. Now, wide receivers, right? Wide receivers, Tyreek and Waddle get a lot of run. Not a lot. Tyreek doesn't get a lot of run. We kind of know what Tyreek does. So Tyreek doesn't get a lot of run in practice. Waddle gets a good amount of run. I see Waddle making a lot of plays. Um, Barrios, I saw making a lot of plays, good amount of plays, right? Chosen Anderson, I saw making a good amount of plays. I'd like to see Chosen Anderson get more reps, right? I want to see Chosen Anderson and Barrios really fight for that number 3 position. And I think, or maybe, I mean, maybe we're gonna run a lot of 4 wide receiver sets. Maybe we do that. A lot of single back 4 wide receiver sets. I saw a lot of quads. I saw a lot of twins right, twins left, stuff like that. But twins, you're using those 3 receivers, right? Quads, you're using those 4 receivers, and then sometimes they would go empty set, take the back out of the backfield, motion them into the outside, and then have empty set, right? 5 wide receivers. When in doubt, air it out type formation. So I think I want to see Chosen play more. I want to see Barrios play more. But I think those 4 wide receivers right now are Tyreek, Waddle, Barrios, and Chosen. I think those really are the guys, right? Now Craycraft made some plays. Eric Izakama, I didn't see a lot of him. I didn't see a lot of Braylon Sanders. I saw a little bit of Cedric Wilson Jr., but just not enough for him to stand out, right? He's made a couple plays here and there, but I think the wide receiver room right now comes down to those 4 guys: Tyreek, Waddle, Barrios, and Chosen. I think those are the 4 guys. Eric Izakama, I don't know. I didn't see a lot of him. Maybe he was nicked up a little bit in practice, right? Now, offensive line. I know you guys want to talk about this offensive line. 50 in the room. Do me a favor, hit the like. But when we talk about this offensive line, it's going to be tough to evaluate right now because Armstead isn't getting a lot of reps, right? Irv, I see you. What's good? Irv, I see you in here. What's popping with you, Irv? I'm back down here. I see William Perry in the building too. William Perry, what's popping? Hey, shout out to all the homies, man. All the homies in the building. Do me a favor, hit the like. Y'all see we growing, man. 50 in the room, man. Shout out to the homies. Big Nick in the building. What's good, Big Nick? If y'all don't follow Big Nick, go follow Big Nick. I see everybody in here, man. Dre's in here. Marino's Goat. Roger Goodell's Burner. Appreciate y'all coming through, man. So let's get to talk about this offensive line. Now, offensive line doesn't really look like it should look because Armstead isn't really getting a lot of reps yet, right? I think once Armstead comes in, it pushes one of those guys out, right? And then you have the ability to just kind of solidify your offensive line. So right now you got Connor Williams at center, Robert Hunt at right guard, Austin Jackson at right tackle, right? I don't think Austin Jackson's playing bad. I think he's playing solid enough for us to go into the season with him playing tackle. Now, Austin Jackson does worry me a little bit because I just know that, one play here or there can really put your quarterback at jeopardy. So you really can't be out there throwing, and this is what we called them. You can't be throwing oh shit blocks, right? Like, oh shit, I just got beat, right? You can't throw oh shit blocks. That's how you get your quarterback put in the hospital. So we just got to have a guy in Austin Jackson that's going to be consistent enough to be able to stay in front of guys and not give anybody free runs to our quarterback, right? We can't give anybody free runs. So Austin Jackson, I think, will be fine. Robert Hunt is solid. I want to see Robert Hunt get off the ball a little bit faster, cut down on the pre-snap penalties, on the false starts and stuff, and he'll be fine. He should be a Pro Bowl player this year if he just cuts down on the small mistakes. Connor Williams should be good. High snaps, we got to cut those out. He had one in the scrimmage that was really bad. Would have been in the end zone, probably would have been a safety or something like that. We'd have had to kick it out the end zone. So Connor Williams has got to just touch up on some things, get a little bit better. Um, that left guard spot, and this is going to be, um, the focal point for the offensive line and probably Butch Berry moving forward is just solidifying that left guard spot, whether it's, you know, Robert Jones or whether it's Liam Eichenberg or Dan Feeney. I saw multiple guys get reps at the position. Um, but it's gonna be difficult to determine right now until they start locking things in. And I think preseason we'll get a good understanding of what the line is going to be, right? Because I want to see those 5 guys or 4 guys, or I mean, Teron Armstead may not play in the preseason, which is I don't mind, right? I don't want him getting hurt, but we still want to see the other guys. Kendall Lamb is a good, swing tackle that he could play, when Armstead's not in. So he's been holding his own. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, it is gonna be it's gonna be what it is. Right now, you're looking at Isaiah Wynn he could be at that guard spot too. You're looking at Isaiah Wynn, Dan Feeney, Robert Jones, Liam Eichenberg, really fighting for like one starting spot, right? I've seen Robert Jones get starting reps. I've seen Liam Eichenberg get starting reps. I've seen Wynn get reps as well. So, a bunch of different guys fighting for that position. If they don't get the position, they'll probably be swing guys, right? They'll have to like backup guys. So that'll be the case there. Um, and there's people saying Austin Jackson is struggling. Take it with a grain of salt. That's all I'm gonna tell you, right? People are gonna say Austin Jackson is struggling. They're gonna say everybody on the offensive line is struggling, right? Until you get into joint practices and like evaluate them in those settings, I think our defensive line is really good too. So I think we have some of the top tier pass rushers in the league. So I expect them to struggle versus guys like Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips because they're the best guys in the league at what they do. We don't face those guys every week. They're gonna face some decent rushers, but we don't face those caliber guys every week. So um and there's things you could do to help, right? And I don't think Mike McDaniel is totally scheming for Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips right now. I think Mike McDaniel's, when it comes to game planning, this is what you guys got to understand. Like, people will say, "Oh, Austin Jackson, not good enough." Bro, you can scheme guys. Um, you can scheme to help guys, right? So you can put a fullback out there to chip the edge. You can put a tight end out there. You could slide the line right so it's taken care of and have the running back at the end man on the line of scrimmage. If you know football, you could get away with a lot of stuff to kind of help the pass blocking. And that's what he did last year, right? He knew we weren't the best pass blocking unit. So he used the fullbacks, he used the tight ends a lot, and it worked in our favor. So right now we're not doing a lot of that. So you got to keep that in mind too. Because people say, "Oh, they're getting beat." Yeah, that's because they're not scheming for our defense. Once we get into a game planning mode where we game plan for the Chargers week 1, we'll isolate guys like Bosa's and all of those guys and just make sure they're not killing us, right? If we go back and look at the Cleveland game, right, you got Myles Garrett. We absolutely kind of bottled him up. He did absolutely nothing. So I don't think it's time to panic in terms of the offensive line. I think these guys will get it together and figure it out. I think so. So I have faith in Mike McDaniel, um, and I have faith that he'll figure it out. I really do. My man Trucker Sean, what's good? He said CB83 popping in before I roll the eyes back. Hit the like button. Appreciate you coming through, Trucker Sean. Appreciate you, bro. The Dolphins Realtor is in the building. Yes, sir. ABAB says our interior offensive linemen about to go against some monsters tomorrow. Yes, we are going to see if these guys can hold up. Hopefully they don't get rolled up. Hopefully they are coming off the ball. And I think once you get into that mode of running the football and doing stuff like that, bro, I think these guys will be fine. But these guys got to be heavy on their hands and they got to be running off the ball and trying to run dudes over. Straight up. My man, Florida born Kentucky Brown says Dalvin Cook. Hey, I like Dalvin Cook. Hey, hit him with the he got cooked.
He got cooked.
Adrian, you didn't go down like that, huh?
He got cooked.
That's what I want to hit him with, man. When Dalvin get that ball and take off on them boys, I want to be able to say,
He got cooked.
Adrian, you didn't go down like that, huh?
He got cooked.
that's what I want to be able to say. My gosh, go get Dalvin. Why are we playing ourselves? Come on, man. My man Irv said, "Are you going to joint practices?" I wish I could, man. I wish I could be down there for joint practices. Was just down there for 4 days. Had a great time with the family. Spent some family time. Went to the beach and hung out with the kids. They're going back to school Thursday, so I wish I could, but I can't make it down for joint practices. Hopefully, I can get down like later in camp and get down to the games. But man, I appreciate y'all coming through. Let's get to this defense, though, right? So we talked about the offense. We talked about the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, and the offensive line, right? That's the units there. Yes, there are joint practices tomorrow. Hey, if anybody needs a ticket for tomorrow or tomorrow Wednesday, give me a shout. I have extra tickets. So if you need a ticket, get on my Twitter DM, hit your boy up. I got you. I got you with the tickets. You got to get me some content though. Let me know how they plan. Give me some content. I got you. He said, "You think TD going or is he ducking juice?" Nah, TD will be there. I'm sure TD should be in the building. Back at it. TD's been there a lot too. The only day I missed TD was Thursday, so he wasn't that Thursday. It was just me covering it Thursday, and then Friday he was there, and then he was there Saturday too, but he got there late. He got there late and he left early, so he said he got all the content he needed. But I was in the building. I talked to TD a lot, so you can't be putting yourself into these situations. So, and I understand TD's got a certain agenda and how he wants to run his channel, and he wants to be critical. I just want y'all to understand that's not how TD built his fan base. Like, he built his fan base being a fan, like being fanatical. Like, dude was the ultimate fan. Rode for Ryan Tannehill to the depth, right? And I was like that too. Like, I thought Ryan Tannehill was good enough, which he was, right? If you look at that Titans team, shit. I mean, they put a running game around him, turn him into a play action guy, turn him into an efficient guy, and he was good enough, right? Went to the playoffs, multiple playoffs, won games. So I think that's the case. And I think the Miami Dolphins are always just not built around their quarterbacks. And that's why I wasn't ready to give up on Tua yet, because they just hadn't built around them. And I understand young quarterbacks, not going to be able to carry no team by themselves. It's just not possible. It's not possible. It's just not. So, I mean, it is what it is. So let's get into the defense. We'll start off with the obvious. The safeties look kind of set. Javon Holland, Deshaun Elliott. Once Brandon Jones started working back in, he'll get some reps there. But the safeties look pretty much set, right? And those will be the guys, right? Corners, you're looking at Jalen, who got hurt, right? And you're looking at really a 3-man fight for this second cornerback spot, right? The second boundary corner. So X is going to hold on one side, and you're looking at Eli Apple, Noah Igbenogany, and Cam Smith for that second cornerback role. Now, when I was out there, Cam Smith was covering. He was covering one of the players, and they have the practice facility really close to the practice field. So he ended up running onto the sidewalk, tripped and fell into the bushes, kind of dinged himself. I think that was day 1 I was there, Thursday, right? So that might have happened Thursday. It came out Friday. I think he was ready to go, or maybe he didn't practice Friday. But I think Cam Smith will have a shot. I think he'll definitely get reps this year, right? I think Fangio will want to see him in game moments. I think he'll get some preseason time too, where he's just working. But I'm impressed so far with Noah, with Cam, with Eli Apple. They've all been playing pretty good football. I think the big surprise is Noah and his play. I think Noah is just a much more comfortable player when he can see things in front of him. He's not very good when he's chasing after a guy, right? And his back is to the quarterback. I think that's a very difficult thing to do because these guys are very quick. They're fast twitches off the chain, right? And I think Noah's a very he's a straight line runner, very fast guy if he's on a straight line, but his feet can just get away from him if these guys are making quick double moves and stuff like that. He can get really, really got on that because he just doesn't have that fast twitch to be able to catch that. So I think Noah's going to be fine in the system as long as he's not playing man to man with his back to the ball. Right? He needs to be able to see things in front of him and just make sure he can make a play on the ball and see the quarterback's eyes and helmet and all of that, so he can read it. So I think he'll be fine. Eli Apple and Noah, Cam Smith. I mean, I think Eli Apple and Cam Smith are better man-to-man guys, right? So I think if Fangio wants to do that matchup zone or play a little man underneath the zone, then I don't know if Noah will be in the game as much. But I saw Noah taking a lot of first team reps. So, man, you gotta consider that Noah must be playing pretty good because he's getting first team reps with the ones, right? And he had, I think, two interceptions. I think it was two interceptions Saturday. No, the first one was a miscommunication to Tyreek, but dude made a play on the ball, came down with it. Great play, right? So Noah's really, coming to play. And I think he'll have a shot at winning that position for sure, right? And that's the best thing for us to happen, right? A first round pick who hasn't panned out, finally getting into the game, getting a shot to make a chance. I mean, to really seize an opportunity. So maybe he does become a guy for us that's, you know, a great player in this scheme. And scheme matters. And that's what I want you guys to understand, that when it comes to these players, scheme really does matter. It matters, right? So Noah was not the best press guy, man guy, but in this Fangio scheme, he might be the perfect guy for what he's looking for. Might be the perfect guy. So scheme really does matter. So coach to coach, you could be looking at two totally different players. You could happen. Shout out to the homie Woo Back. Woo Back, what's popping with you, homie? Um, what's good, Big Oos? The homie Woo Back. Woo Back got a dope channel too. If y'all don't go follow, Woo Back, you tripping. You tripping. Kane's in the building. What's good? Wayne D is in the building. What's popping with you, Wayne D? Yes. Shout out to the homie Wayne D. Wayne D got some dope music too, bro. Y'all gotta go get that Wayne D experience, bro. He be dropping some hits. I told you we gotta work, my boy. We gotta work. Um, yeah, so we talked about the DBs, right? Linebackers. Linebackers look, I mean, honestly, it's gonna be hard to judge the linebackers, while we're at practice because those guys are making plays, but like you really can't see it. It's so cloudy in there that they're not really like grabbing and tackling to the ground. So linebacker will be difficult to judge until you get into the preseason. But David Long is playing well, I think. I mean, I see him making plays, and Jerome Baker is being Jerome Baker. I think Jerome Baker is he's going to be better under Fangio's system with a guy like David Long next to him because David Long is more of a downhill guy. So he can make those plays, and I think Jerome Baker can kind of clean it up, afterwards or be a blitzer in some moment. So I think Jerome Baker will be fine. I think our inside linebackers will be fine. I'd like to see a little bit more depth there. And the Miami Dolphins did bring in a couple guys. We brought in the guy Hand, who's a defensive tackle. Former, standout. I think he was the number one ranked player coming out of high school. So defensive lineman who can help bring some depth to that interior. And we brought in somebody else too. We got rid of Blackman, and I think we brought in a cornerback. That's what we did. We brought in another corner too. So really stacking up on the cornerbacks and just making sure our guys are ready to go because that's going to be crucial. The secondary is going to be crucial to our success. So we did safeties, we did corners, linebackers. We kind of did. Van Ginkel's playing well. I like the way Van Ginkel's being deployed. Sometimes he's on the outside, sometimes he's inside. Our defensive line will be a problem. Chubb and Phillips will be dynamic. I think Christian Wilkins will be dynamic, right? And I think Christian Wilkins is just finally the switch is finally flipped for him. And that's how some players are, right? They get to the point where they just feel like they're unstoppable, right? And I think that's where Christian Wilkins is. He just understands hand placement, body placement, leverage, how to get guys off of him, how to use his hands to swat guys off. Um, so Christian Wilkins is like going to be a focal piece for the Miami Dolphins defense. It really is. So really looking forward to seeing him play. Um, and I love Christian Wilkins' attitude on the field. He's chirping, he's having fun, he's getting the guys going. You need somebody like that. You need somebody like that in the locker room, in the huddle. Zach Seiler's playing well. I'm hearing he's playing well. So defensive line will be fine. I think our front five, our front six, front seven will be one of the best in the league, and I feel like our secondaries have the opportunity to be one of the best units in the on the field too in the league, point blank period, right? And I think we could be top 5 defense, no doubt. But I think it's just a matter of the attention to detail, the understanding where you're supposed to be, right? Because if you don't do that, then you're getting beat, right? So I think Vic Fangio has a good grasp of what he's doing and where he wants guys to be. I love the fact that he's in the box, calling the plays, seeing it from the top. And I thought that's what we were lacking last year. Just Boyer being on the sideline wasn't good enough for us. We need somebody up top kind of looking at it, seeing where guys are getting lined up, seeing how the secondary is playing, and making the adjustment. So really looking forward to this team, man. And I loved being down there in Miami. I loved covering the team, just kind of talking to some of the guys. I got some autographs, got an autograph from Tua on a Tua jersey, which was dope. If you guys didn't see that, go check that video out. That's on the previous videos as well. But man, it was great being down there. So for these last 5 to 10 minutes, I'm gonna take a couple questions. Right, I'm gonna do a little Q&A session. Shout out to everybody in the chat. My man Wayne D says, "Yo, I got that R&B for y'all. You already know." Got you. Yes, sir, bro. Wayne D got the R&B vibes going crazy. So yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna take a couple questions. Let's run it, man. Let's run it. What you guys want to talk about? We'll take a couple questions if you guys want to. So I kind of talked a little bit about everything, right? I talked about every position group. Standouts for me in camp. Let's do this, right? Standouts for me in camp. So offensively, let's go offensively first, right? Offensively, Tua stood out, right? Tua's playing well. I think Tua will play even better as we kind of get into the mode of pushing into the season, right? These next 3 weeks. Running back wise, nobody really stood out to me. A-Chain is good. Ahmed is good. They all have good runs. Wilson has a good run every now and then. Mostert has a good run every now and then, right? But none of them really stand out. I think from what I saw from practice from the receivers, I think Waddle was making the most plays, right? Tyreek wasn't getting a lot of reps, but I know Tyreek's gonna make plays. That's normal. That's a given, right? Barrios made a good amount of plays, right? He made a good amount of plays. Chosen made some plays too, and I think Chosen really does a good job of making the best of his reps. Like if you throw a ball to him, like I saw a nice corner route where he just beat his guy, just really, ran 10 yards, playing it, and got to the outside. Beat his guy, the ball was there, caught it. He just does a good job. And I want to see him. I'd like to see him get more reps, get more run, because I know he could be really good, a really good three. We saw how Sherfield and Craycraft ate last year. I think Chosen is better than those guys, much better than those guys. I think Barrios is better than those guys too. So um, that wide receiver group is going to be good. I think um, Kendall Lamb stood out on the offensive line. I think Robert Hunt and Connor Williams are going to be good, right? Um, they just got to be continue to be consistent. The snaps got to be good. Robert Hunt he's got to cut down on the pre-snap stuff. No false starts. Jalen Waddle had a couple bad false starts that bothered me. Right, receivers shouldn't be false starting. So Jalen's got to clean that up. Um, and Jalen Waddle had the orange jersey one day. Christian Wilkins had it, and I think Chubb had it the days I was there. Days I was there. B Show was good. He says, crazy idea, but not that crazy. Should we go after Zach Martin, left guard at Dallas, pay him 3 to 4 years with Teron Armstead and get a lead on the line? Rather pay than some guys we have. Just an idea and thought. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, you're stacking it up at that point. I mean, in an ideal world, of course, you'd have 5 guys you really didn't have to worry about. But I think every offensive line is going to have 1 or 2 guys that are kind of weaker links, right? Now, I think the guys we have are suitable, right? But I mean, if you can upgrade and get a guy for cheap, that's going to solidify the line and come in and play right away. You got to evaluate that guy and see if he's the fit, though, right? He's got to be a scheme fit. He's got to be able to run, rip and run. He's got to be able to get outside and run that outside zone. So it's got to be a guy that's kind of nimble and who can run a little bit. So I think that's why we're probably a little reluctant to just grab any guy off the street, because it's got to kind of fit the scheme. And if it doesn't fit the scheme, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, right? That's just the way they approach it. So good question, but I'm just not sure if that's the way they want to go at the moment. Wayne D throwing the emojis in the chat. Emojis on fire tonight. On fire. He said Chosen is on ice to back up Hill and Wild. I think so too. And I think Chosen would do a good job doing that. I think he's more than suitable. I think he's definitely gonna make the roster. My man Q with a question. He says, "You think you would think a West Coast offense would eat up a Fangio defense? What gives up the underneath to intermediate?" My question is, what kind of offense is McDaniel running? So he's running a West Coast offense, but I think Mike McDaniel isn't getting to the point where he's like calling plays for a game, right? He's just calling plays to see what works, right? And that's what I want you guys to understand, is that preparing for a game is different from preparing for practice, right? When you're preparing for a game or game planning, like you're game planning to attack the defense, right? Mike McDaniel right now is not game planning to attack Fangio's defense. He's just running his plays, right? Sometimes he's hitting guys in the middle of the field. Sometimes it's outside. Sometimes it's in the flats. There's just different ways to attack it. But I think we got to wait until the season to really determine like how we're going to attack teams. And I think Mike McDaniel is a really good play caller in the flow of the game. Like that's what I don't have. I've never really had an issue with his play calling, because he's usually in rhythm. It's very calculated. It's using the entire field. I just like to see him run the ball more and get more creative in the run game. Like I'd like to see more running back screens and stuff like that, especially on third down, third and longs, where guys are pinning their ears back and they're trying to rush the pass or trying to kill Tua. You got to be able to throw in some screens. A guy like Dalvin would kill on that, right? He would absolutely punish teams with the screen game. And that's why I think he's a target, or has been a target, or should be a target, because you on third and longs and stuff like that, where you're really game planning and you understanding what teams do on third and long, you'll get into a position where you can just eat teams up, eat teams up. by just running the right play, calling the right play. So good question there. Q, I just don't think right now they're game planning for attacking Fangio's defense. They're just trying to run stuff to see what works for the offense, like how they can execute offensively, and seeing what works, right? And seeing what packages work with what players. So keep that in mind. Yes, football is back. Football is back. Well, um, he said McDaniels is running McDaniel offense. He is. Um, AB says Waddle needs to just hand catch everything. I think he's getting better with that. He's not leaving his feet as much. He's trying to catch it with his hand so he can catch it and run. I think he's doing better with that. What we got? Any more questions? I see y'all boys in there. Chess game between McDaniel and Fangio. Yeah. And I don't think it's there yet. I don't think they're really game planning for each other. But I think what you'll see in joint practices is attacking the defense. Like, because what they do is they understand, hey, what these guys are running. So they've had conversations. They know what Atlanta's running. Atlanta knows what we run for the most part. That way they can kind of prepare for what they're going to see, right? And you can attack the other team, the opposing team. So that's why tomorrow and Wednesday will be important, just to kind of see, hey, what are we running? Are we executing? Are we efficient? Are there penalties? Like, just making sure that we're doing the right thing. So yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. It's been an hour and 7 minutes. I usually like to go around an hour. Hey, I appreciate everybody coming out. Do me a favor, hit the like button on your way out, share, subscribe, donate if you can. If you can't, just hit the like for me. I appreciate you guys. You know how we do. You know how we do over here. We get it in. We have a great time. We have a great time. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I appreciate everybody coming through. Juan, what's good with you? Juan Cruz Moran, what's popping? How you doing, bud? New Finland's in the building. He says the O-line gonna get it done. O-line is gonna be fine. The O-line will get it done. I don't know whether it's gonna be, Liam or Robert Jones or Isaiah Wynn at left guard, but we already have 4 guys on that line solidified, right? Robert Hunt is a constant. Austin Jackson is a constant. Connor Williams is a constant. If Austin Jackson can't play or handle it, Kendall Lamb will come in and play, right? Teron Armstead will be there come game time. So I think the offensive line is fine. You're going to have – I coached the offensive line for years. You're going to have 1 or 2 guys that you got to try to hide in the scheme. That's natural. That's natural for it. So that's part of it, right? And maybe that guy steps up and becomes a player. Maybe he doesn't, but you need him to. You really do need him to. So good question, though. Good question. I appreciate it. Walt Dog says, what do you think about Aubrey Miller, Channing Tindall situation? Aubrey was making the calls and not Tindall. I think Aubrey Miller will probably make this team, right? I think Aubrey Miller was making some plays in there with the twos. I don't know, man. It's tough because Tindall and Aubrey are going to have to find themselves on special teams. They're going to have to get on punt team. They're going to have to get on kickoff return, stuff like that, in order to make the roster. But I think Aubrey Miller will be kind of a lock just because I've seen him making plays. He's been around the football. Seems like he's a smart guy, has a knack for the football. So that's the case. So Channing Tindall, we'll see how that pans out. I think he's maybe the 4th or 5th guy in that rotation. Van Geekel's in there too sometimes on the inside. So there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot going on at the linebacker situation, but some of those guys got to find themselves on special teams if they want to make this roster. I mean, that's the nature of the game at this point. Got to find yourself doing special teams. My man says, I'll unlike it just to like it again. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. So I really appreciate you guys coming through. I appreciate you guys just sticking with me while I talk, kind of give you some feedback on the Miami Dolphins. Hey, this is what we do over here. We try to have a good time. We try to educate the people, give you good content. And this was just talking about some of the units. I'll be back tomorrow for a recap. So we're gonna recap tomorrow's practice. I'm gonna have some Twitter stuff, looking at some of the plays that we did. Um, looking at how we played against the Atlanta Falcons. We'll have all of that stuff tomorrow. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. We're gonna be back tomorrow to recap, and then we got Wednesday too. So yeah, man. Hey, the guys should be fresh tomorrow. 2 days off. They had off Sunday. They had off Monday. I'm sure they got in there, watched some film, did some stuff on air. But now they're back at it, back on the field. Hopefully, praying that everybody stays healthy. Y'all send a prayer up. Make sure everybody stays healthy throughout these next few days. That's all we need, man. We just need everybody healthy. If everybody's healthy, we're gonna be solid. We're gonna be solid, man. He said the games begin tomorrow. Yes, sir, they do begin tomorrow. He says, why won't they move Tindall back outside? I don't think Tindall's an outside guy in this scheme. When you look at our outside guys are the stand-up guys, like the Jalen Phillips, the Chubbs, right? Everything else is inside. So the other two linebackers are inside. So there's 2 inside linebackers, 2 outside linebackers, and then 3 defensive linemen, right? And those are interior. We can consider those interior guys. So the starting unit right now, in my opinion, that front 7 is Chubb is usually on the left side. If the offense is facing the defense, Chubb is on that left side. Jalen Phillips is on that right side. You have Raekwon in the middle, Seiler, Christian Wilkins there. You have David Long Jr. at an inside backer. You have Jerome Baker at an inside backer. In that second group, you will probably have Aubrey Miller or Van Ginkel or Tindall in that second group, and the inside guys. And then outside guys, those guys can rotate. Maybe you could rotate in an Ogbo on the outside, or maybe you rotate them in on the inside. They said they're playing him on the outside right now as a stand-up guy, which usually isn't his thing, right? He's usually better with his hand in the dirt. We saw a lot of him setting the edge with his hand in the dirt. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think the defense has enough depth right now with bringing the defensive lineman, bringing another corner to kind of make it happen, right? I think they got enough to make it happen. So, hey, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your evening. Go out there and kill it tomorrow. And we'll be back tomorrow night. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. You already know what time it is. I'm out.
Came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Oof, hey, I gotta flex. I need a Nike bag, give me the check. I need the money and power, respect, but I promise I'm repping the O to the dead. Hey, oof, I told them out of my way. I don't got nothing to say. Now they can't run at my pace. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 402, we rap the game. I told them this ain't a game.